There were comers and there were goers, but Martin Truex held on to his lead in the closing laps to break his 54 race losing streak, proving that, like us, he's here for the speed. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is DJ. I'm with Here for the Speed. It is great to be with you guys on this Monday instead of Sunday, and I am joined by...
Hi, my name is Jake. I'm with...
Hey, Matt over here, local Brad Keselowski fan.
Yeah, you actually had a good week.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we started where we finished. It was pretty much the same. So.
I mean, that could be worse. And we have someone special with us today. We actually have our buddy Lewis with us joining us on the podcast for the first time.
Happy to be here. Finally.
I know, right? We've been saying like we're going to get you on the podcast one of these days.
Yeah, man. I tune in and listen every week. You know, I'm active in the chat.
When you hear you're running around with your shirt off because Kyle Busch won Talladega.
Hey, man. I was getting a lot of trash talk last week from everybody. So
now everybody can put a face to the voice.
Hey.
Or a voice, a face to the voice, a voice to the face.
Whatever.
Technically.
Same difference.
I mean, yeah, it's the same. Yeah, whatever.
We're racing on Monday. Everything's backwards.
Listen, we don't have a clue. So that's super cool. So we got a little interesting group today. So what do we think? Did everyone actually get a chance to watch the race a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
I think we all kind of had different ways of watching it. It was kind of funny.
I made sure to save all my paperwork that I could do in my office to after lunch.
Try to cram it all in.
Went and did all my walking around the job site and then went and sat down in my office and didn't leave. And locked the door. Don't talk to me.
Do not bother me. I'm in meetings for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of the race overall? You know, what are we thinking? Good, bad, What was our thoughts?
I thought it was pretty good. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later. I think if you get a tire that kind of falls off, like what Denny Hamlin's been talking about and what I guess, NASCAR and Goodyear and the teams have all been kind of having discussions about, hopefully that's, maybe a month or so out from getting that. I know they did a tire test and some other things. So I think if you get that fixed, this race does everything you want. I mean, you had people wrecking just from the card being hard to drive. The tires, you could tell some teams were really aggressive on the setup and would burn their tires up way faster than other teams on long runs. It wasn't really like tire fall off. It was more like it just fell apart, which, I mean, not necessarily a bad thing because he went from being fast to really slow. A lot of passing. So I thought it was pretty good, minus some real true tire fall off. Yeah.
Lewis, what did you think?
Man, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, going from, working and tuning in and having it playing in the laptop in the background or whatnot, I felt like there was a lot of changes, in the beginning. A lot of people were driving hard straight out the gate.
Yeah.
So a very enjoyable race, I will say.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think?
Man, so to start off, this weekend has been hell for me. I have been sick, so if my voice sounds bad, it is 100%.
You still sound better than Jake last week.
Yeah.
Facts.
This is some kind of
Especially
virus or something going on. But, I mean, I was able to hang out and watch the race at home. I thought it turned out it was a fine race. I mean, it's the same gripes that I've kind of been having for the last few of the standard tracks where it's just hard to pass, and I thought you could see that clearly in this one. Kind of going back to what Jake was saying, the tire fall off. There should be a bigger gamble between 2 tires and 4 tires at the end of the race,
especially with what six laps to go, right?
It was like 6 or 8. Yeah, it was right around there.
We'll kind of get into that more too. So it's but definitely I agree with you.
All in all, I thought it was a good race. Definitely brought a lot of good cars to the track.
I felt like the passing was really good outside of like the top 5, which, I mean, the top 5 shouldn't be able to necessarily pass each other super easy. I mean, they're the top 5 towards the later stages of the race should for a reason,
the top. Yeah, they should be the top teams. Yeah, I thought it was good. There was a lot going on there. I mean, through the whole race, it felt like there was teams that I think you could say were strong the entire day, but I never felt like through the whole race it was like obviously one car that was dominant. For a while it looked like Byron was going to be dominant. Then it looked like, Chastain, man, he's super fast. And then all of a sudden Martin Truex comes out. And so there was a lot of movement. Hamlin was super fast at one point. So you had a lot of drivers Brian Blaney was up there the whole day.
Track position was key.
Yeah.
It was make it or break it.
Yeah, I think that's where you saw there was a lot of stuff that happened on pit road, and I think that's where a lot of teams kind of fell apart today.
You know, it's crazy. The way William Byron would take off on a restart.
Oh, he was gone.
That was like,
Well,
hey, what kind of 2.5? What gear you got in there, man? Something in between, like two, like it was crazy fast.
so at the beginning when he and Brad were up there, did you guys get a chance to hear what they were saying?
Oh no.
So the reason why he like destroyed Brad on the restarts was he was like, "Is he in first gear?" And they're like, "Yeah, we checked. He's in first gear." He's like, "All right, I was in second." So he wasn't. It just
I could tell too on that restart where Byron was on the inside. Did you notice as soon as the restart went, Byron came up right up against Brad, and that's because you could see Brad had wheel input in the wheel. He had the wheel turned, and Byron had kind of got down in the restart zone, and right when he went, he was driving straight, so he had no wheel input. So he just plus the first gear and
just gone.
Homie was gone. And then after that, everybody on the front row started doing that same thing where they would come down like a half a lane and then launch straight and then turn.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that either, but that's pretty.
Again, I said I was doing paperwork, but it wasn't much paperwork going on. That's the one time I didn't mind Fox commercials. I was over there like doing my stuff.
Oh, okay. So you actually don't mind them now.
Today. If I'm sitting on the couch not doing nothing, like that's different.
So you're okay with it as long as you're at work.
Yes.
It's good on a Monday, not
unless
on a
it's
Sunday.
a super speedway, because I'm gonna take that day as a sick day and be home and watch that race.
Oh my gosh. All right. So some other things that happened. We talked about the tire thing. So I was really surprised. Chastain taking 4 tires. Didn't seem to help him a whole lot compared to Martin taking 2.
Yeah. I
That
think
was
this is
weird.
where you got to.
I mean, the beginning, like the first maybe lap or two, you could see Chastain was definitely going to catch him, and then I think it was Truex and Blaney were together, and he couldn't get around him. And then at that point, Truex just ran away with it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't keep up with him.
I think you're getting into a situation where when you're kind of single file and you're not coming up on a 2 wide in front of you, and you can race the lane you want, because when you're 2 wide, you can't come across the wall or come up from the wall, apex the center of the apron and back out, right? So if you're 2 wide, you're going to run a slower corner. That's just physics, right? But then the other part of that is when you're single file, the tire fall off from old tires has to be a greater impact than the aero. And that's what was holding Ross Chastain from catching him, because he would get close and then you would see he would get aero tight and the nose would shoot up and he'd have to kind of regather himself. And he did that like 3 times. So he kept getting close, and then he would lose the nose. And then before they even took tires, Ross was faster than Truex, and the same thing was happening, along with like some other people getting in the way.
Yeah, there was a lot of that happening. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird because I expected, okay, he'll hold them off for maybe a couple laps. I think we came back to green with 6 or 7 laps, somewhere like that. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he'll hold them down, but on the last like 2 or 3 laps, he's going to be right on his bumper, ready to run him over. And he wasn't there at all.
No, he couldn't get there.
I would have expected on a short run, especially like that. I would have thought maybe they would have like, okay, drop the pressures down. You only got to make it for 7 laps. Let's use up every bit of tire we got.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's what they did. It's just, the cars are super aero sensitive. I was actually listening to another podcast, and they're talking about even dirt racing now, like the Outlaw Sprint cars and super late models.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing.
Really,
they're getting aero tight now because all the things that people have learned from NASCAR aero wise is trickling down. So you're seeing the same thing over there.
Makes sense, I guess. So yes, and then the other thing that blew my mind with this race was the fact that at the end of the race there was only 12 drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah,
that was weird. At one point, I think it was down to like 6 or 7 or something like that. And then obviously on the last caution, a bunch of drivers took the wave around, got back on the lead lap just to have a chance at doing something. But yeah, only 12 drivers finishing on the lead lap. That's not something we have happen very often. Wow.
Yeah, I thought you were going to keep going.
No, that was the end of my comment. Jeez. I got to have a flag for when you guys got to go or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know. Like sometimes depending on the race, like that could be like that could be a bad thing. But like this race, I felt like even if you were a lap down, the race between the lap down guys was really good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of passing and a lot of good racing back there. So it wasn't as like, offensive per se or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't bother me that much.
Makes sense.
I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't like when there's multiple. How do I want to say this? When there's over half the field that's a lap down or 2 laps down or 3 laps down, I don't think it makes a lot of sense because it doesn't add a sense of like variety to the winner. Like people who are 2 laps down, you're done. I mean, you could still race and still finish the race, but you're not gonna be competing for the win. Even the 1 lap down guys, like you got 10 laps to run. How many more times do you think you're gonna get that lucky dog? You're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's one of those
some
things.
Scenario
that
maybe, but yeah, not really, not half the field or something.
It's one of those things like it must just be the Martin Truex show because every time he wins a race, he always ends up dominating.
Well, but this wasn't
field.
dominating though.
No, he didn't dominate the whole race, but
he
spanked a lot of drivers.
I think
that's true.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but then I kind of disagree too. Cause
am I seeing it wrong? Because
I agree with Denny Hamlin. If the parity is too great and everybody's a similar speed to where they don't go a lap down, you don't see any passing.
None.
And so today we saw a lot of passing, and lap traffic helps create arrow situations for somebody else to make a pass. So I think it helps to a certain extent.
Or prevent them from passing.
Correct.
We'll talk about that.
But like looking at like the top 10, any one of those guys in the top 10 at some point in the race was pretty fast and was, maybe a favorite to look at winning. I mean, William Byron, Blaney in the beginning, Keselowski had time up front, Chastain, obviously Truex, Bell was up there in the top 5. Actually Gibbs had a great day overall at the end of the day. They didn't score many, obviously I don't think they scored any stage wins, right?
No, wins, no.
Yeah. Who won the second stage? Byron got the first?
Chastain.
Chastain. Yeah, so, but look what team finished really strong. And Hendricks was the hands down favorite coming in, but Joe Gibbs looked great at the end, not just because they won, but Toyota, I think they finished all in the top 6, right?
I think so, and Toyota looks pretty strong in general. I think the only one that was outside the top 10 may have been Bubba.
I think 2311 was.
He made it up.
They
to
were
12th
off.
spot too.
Was it 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even Tyler was doing okay. He wasn't setting the world on fire, but he was definitely better than the majority.
But like we said, like there was a lot of movement in the back, but once you got closer to that top 10, top 12, getting past that 6-5 spot, there's no movement. Everybody was kind of playing defense, just securing their place and making sure nothing really kind of happens.
Yeah, but if you're in the top 5 fastest out of 40 guys, they're going to be hard to pass.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and there's also probably some of it too, like when you get to say, like, if you don't have a car that can win and you're running in the 5th place, you're just going to probably be content to be like, look, let's just keep it clean, get a 5th place, get a really good solid finish for the day. We can't quite contend for the for first, but we don't want to do something trying to get to first and then wreck and end up in 30th.
Hey,
So, there might be
from last week. Just run consistent and just wait for something lucky.
And then there was Kyle Busch this week where he was unlucky.
Unlucky.
Yeah. Totally something, speeding on pit road by what was it? Some
0.08 of a mile an hour.
Yeah.
Less than a tenth of a mile an hour.
Yeah. So
I don't know why. That was like really hard to say all of a sudden.
we
talked about it before and I was like,
just like all of a sudden put him on the spot for it. But no. Yeah. like that's just barely speeding, gets put in the back, a wreck happens, gets caught up in the wreck, and it just totally derailed his day because I think his car looked pretty good. I don't know if he was.
He ran in the lead for 26 laps.
I don't know if he would have ended up winning just based on the way everything shook out, but I think
top 10.
He would have easily had a top 10. I think so.
Well, he had pretty good practice results. Like him and Austin Dillon were on different sides of the world for some reason. Austin Dillon wrecked in practice and wasn't fast really before that, and then that backup car they had was, dude, that thing was junk.
Yeah.
He ran like last half the race.
Yeah, it was
like
bad.
30th down. It was.
Take that one and just get rid of that backup car.
Yeah, that thing was
so. But
horrible.
something else that happened in this race was Josh Berry right? So Josh Berry, first time he's subbing in the 48 car, and he finishes 10th. So Josh Berry is, despite having kind of a rocky start his first few weeks subbing in for Chase, he's been pretty consistently showing that I think he's going to be the next big driver you see move up to Cup.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance we see him go to Cup next year. I got a feeling like SHR. There's no way. I mean, look how good he's running.
But I have a question to that. Is that him being talented or that team being?
Yes.
You know what I'm
I think
saying?
it's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
So Chase Elliott said on the pre-race, he said, well, there was a conversation that was had between Chase Elliott and Josh Berry, and Chase Elliott had told Josh Berry that this track races the most similar to the Xfinity car and the Cup car. Like, this is the most similar. So, I mean, with taking that into consideration, I mean,
Where did he start? He started in the 20s.
yeah.
Oh,
Dude, he
27th?
gained like 6-7 spots in the first 20 laps.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't put that all on the car.
No, not all of it.
Flying through that.
And
track.
I mean, granted, we know the 48 is good here. I mean, Jimmy, and then obviously Bowman's been really good here too.
This is one of Bowman's best tracks.
Yeah, so I mean, like, that car is
This is
good.
also one of Josh Berry's best tracks.
It is.
I read a stat. I didn't check it myself, but it said he's finished second or better in every Xfinity race he's raced at Dover.
Yes, I did
That's
hear that
nasty.
one. Second or better at every race
that's
at Dover.
talent. That answers the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is it's kind of weird, and I think he's gonna be the most logical person for SHR. I don't know if you see him go into the 4 car. They haven't announced who's going into the 4, have they?
And we don't know what's happening with Eric Almirola, so they could be potentially filling 2 seats.
I don't know if they throw him in the 4 car or if they put him in the 10. I could see him going to the 10.
Man,
Who's going to go to the 4? Who would you get? You know you got daddy's money with Cole Custer.
Frankie Muniz.
Yeah.
Listen, bring him to Cup.
I'd be all about that, but no. No, I don't think Cole Custer, I don't think he's proven himself yet. I mean, he went back to...
He had that one really good year in Xfinity. They bumped him up, and
even...
He got one... What did he win at? He won one Cup race.
It was like
I don't remember.
Ohio or something like that. It was a weird one.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
know.
wasn't a big like marquee event or anything.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's whatever there. But like,
It was
I mean,
like Iowa or Ohio or... It was a weird looking track.
But we saw the same results from Chase Briscoe. He won at Phoenix early in the year.
However,
and then they were just gone the rest of the year.
I will say this year Chase Briscoe's been kind of doing pretty good, and then Chase Briscoe at the end of last year was really, really solid. If you remember, wasn't he the driver that like every single cutoff he would always advance. He'd always advance just by making some good decisions. So I think Briscoe's starting to kind of maybe find his groove a little bit better. The last 3 races, I think he's finished in the top 10. He's finished in the top 10, maybe even the top 5 in the last few races. So
yeah, I think SHR is just off, and you have Rodney Childers, who's like he's one of those talents that's pretty rare.
yeah,
That's super, super good, and you can see if SHR is running 20th, he can get Kevin Harvick to 10th.
yeah,
And that's also a mixture of Kevin Harvick's ability too, right? But they're way off. They got to figure something out. Like Penske, this is one of Penske's worst tracks.
we saw that.
Like with Logano and Cindric, like they don't even know. They were racing something completely different.
Yeah, and then there was Blaney, who was like really good and consistent all day long too.
Right. But SHR doesn't have those days where, short tracks or road courses, SHR is going to show up. Like they're just mid.
They're just
All year,
I feel like they're
all
just
tracks.
surviving at this point.
And every once in a while, one of them will show up in the top 10, top 5.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
So I got a big conspiracy on it, right?
All right, let's go. I'm here for
You want
conspiracies.
to hear the conspiracy?
Let's go.
here?
Here for the conspiracy.
So you know
that's
how
that's our conspiracy channel.
Tony wanted to get Larson. Tony Stewart wanted to get Kyle Larson, right?
Okay.
And you know how that all fell through.
Yeah,
Well, after that all fell through, Tony really hasn't been that involved in Stewart Haas. He kind of went his own way. He's doing
He's
drag
heavy
racing
into
now,
drag
right?
racing now, yeah.
How involved is Tony Stewart actually in Stewart Haas racing?
I mean, so I watched. He was on Dale Jr.'s podcast. He says he's still pretty, like, really involved.
I mean, he could say it, but it's not showing.
He's still in the TV booth. He's showing
SRX.
But that's Fox.
SRX. I mean,
got
he's,
SRX going on.
but
He's
that's
got his
not
own
NASCAR.
SRX series. He's
he's getting a
drag
bunch of
strip
NASCAR
stuff.
guys. They're landing a bunch of NASCAR guys.
He's playing a big game.
I think
Tony
yeah.
Stewart's he's playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers.
Yeah.
He might be.
He's a smart guy.
So
Admittedly, the last couple of years, he's gotten really frustrated with NASCAR on a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know?
what? So what's your conspiracy though? What are you thinking though?
Stuart Haas has fallen because Tony Stewart has left.
Oh, okay,
left?
Quote unquote left.
that's what you're
Okay.
saying. Okay,
Quote
Or just
unquote.
maybe
stepped back.
not put as much effort into it.
Research effort, time, all the above.
I mean, it's possible.
He's got his own stuff going on now. He's like, I'm done with NASCAR.
I thought you were going to say Tony was coming
I
back.
wouldn't say he's done. I don't think you can go that far. I mean, if that's the truth, then he wouldn't have been in the Fox broadcast booth, 3 times this year already?
But that's Fox. That's not NASCAR.
Yeah, but it's still NASCAR. I mean,
He's
he's not Fox on football or something else. Like
he's Uncle Tony, so he's got his own like image.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? His
I'm
own
saying,
character.
man,
he can play.
I think it's bigger. It's a big conspiracy. We're just waiting to see how it opens.
Hey,
I've
all
been
right.
on a lot of medication the last weekend.
I was like, you're speaking pretty openly to not be wearing a tinfoil hat.
Matt's over
We're
there.
Why don't
going to
wear
bring you
one?
that next week.
Matt's gonna look like Charlie Day in that one meme where it's just like, I've got this conspiracy figured out.
I'm just saying, but the
Figured it out.
patterns align.
It all started with Harambe.
Not go that far back.
What's with Alex Jones?
Yeah, right. I told you, it's happening. So, all right, moving on.
This is way off topic.
This is.
Hey, you went there.
You started it.
Hey,
It was a normal conversation. You're like, I've had lots of medicine this week.
Let me tell you about a conspiracy I've been thinking about. So another driver who did really well was Ty Gibbs, right? So are we finally starting to see Ty Gibbs' talent show?
Well, Matt's been kind of on that bandwagon a little bit, and I've been the one
The
that's
baby
been-
gigs?
Well, that he's kind of showing up, and I've been the one that's been, definitely not. But I think today,
I think he's
that was
getting
really
more
good.
comfortable. He's not as,
Kind of falling into his rhythm.
I was gonna say like cautious, but
It's that confidence.
there you go. Yeah, confidence. I think he's getting a
Yeah.
lot more confidence in the car. I mean, you got to think about it. He was leaving the Xfinity series as one of the top guys. You know, he was champ of champs. It was him
Yeah.
versus all of junior motorsports.
Yeah,
And now
Well,
he's walking into
not one of the top. He was the top. He was champion last year.
right.
Yeah.
And now he's walking into Cup Series and he's low guy on the totem pole. You know, so I think he's getting more used to it and he's filling into his role a little bit better.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, like in the last, I think they said the last 6 races, he's had 4 top 5s.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, no, he's been on a pretty good run.
pretty good run there. And I mean, I think he's kind of doing like he's checking all the boxes, like getting good finishes. May not be the flashiest thing, may not be getting wins or stage wins, but you know, he's showing up. He's there at the end of the race. He's taking care of the car. He's avoiding wrecks.
He's not making those dumb mistakes.
Exactly, and those are things that you know
Like
at this,
spinning out,
at this
getting
point,
on the pit road.
yeah, like or hitting other
Hitting
drivers
other cars on pit
on
road.
pit road.
I mean, Kurt
Hey,
Busch.
that was Hendrick. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I meant it intentionally. Remember that last year in the Xfinity Series when he hit that guy on pit road?
That was last year. You can't think about last year.
Was it Jones that he did it actually in like the actual Cup Series?
He did it with someone.
I thought it was Jones.
Did you see that last year?
No.
Bro, he straight
Oh.
up like a right
In the
hook
Xfinity
someone.
race.
Uh-huh.
He was already like on probation for getting in a fight or something. Like he was already on probation for being wild. Coming down pit road, somebody pulls out, kind of bumps him a little bit. Not bad. There's a car down here being worked on, an official and team members working, and while they're going down pit road, in rage, he turns left and door slams him and almost runs him into the team.
This wasn't a love tap. This was
Intentional.
Yeah, this was straight like
like, bruh, do that when you get off of pit road.
yeah.
No hate, then
Yeah.
then you're good. But bro, you can't be doing that on
There's
pit
no
road.
bystanders.
Like when Suarez was hitting Bowman on pit road, like
Oh,
bro,
yeah.
don't be doing that.
But going back to that, I mean, Kurt Busch, even himself, like, 2 races ago, was on the cast, like, crying because he kind of knew that, like, that car is kind of, that position is getting pulled away from him because Ty Gibbs is just, he's racing.
You're
really,
thinking about
really
Tyler Reddick
well. Was it Tyler Reddick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're thinking two different
because
guys.
Tyler Reddick won,
Rookie mistake.
It's all right.
and you call yourself a Reddick fan.
Rookie mistake.
Well, I don't know. Is he? I can't figure
4
out.
5
I
5
don't
4. Yeah.
This is what happens.
That's
when
close.
Nah,
Both Toyotas.
Baby Gibbs took Kyle Busch's job.
I will say, I mean, he's running that car pretty good. I mean, I'd
He
like
doesn't
actually,
have
I
two
want
wins.
to, I want to compare it.
I mean,
We got to look at the comparable stats to see where he is, where Kyle was at this time last year.
I can tell you,
Ooh,
compared to
that'd be-
last year,
Yeah.
not the same. Like,
Better or worse?
better.
Better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Baby Gibbs is much better this year than Kyle was last year in that same ride.
Interesting.
No, Kyle Busch didn't Kyle Busch win Dirt
He
Bristol?
won. Yeah, I mean,
Well, that was handed to him.
yeah.
about the
Hey,
same way he did
one
with Talladega.
I mean, yeah.
One
I
win
just- I
last
just
year.
love-
Slide job.
The last 2 wins Kyle Busch has had, both have come after he freaking roasted Bowman for backing into wins. That's karma, bro.
He needs to make a shirt.
Strategic
Yeah.
plan.
All right, so
Run third to win races.
one more thing I want to address before we get into our about it, not about it section. And this was something we were joking about in our text messages, but I wanted to bring it up because I just wanted to see what you guys kind of thought on it.
Mac, put your tinfoil hat back
Yeah,
on.
we need the tinfoil hat.
I can't even do the sound. Insert space sounds. Okay.
And that was without medication. All right, so our lapped cars that slow down drivers that are in a fight on the lead lap, is that considered race manipulation? So we see in this race, Chastain is chasing down Martin Truex. I believe he was gaining at this point. And Larson, who, if you remember at the beginning or earlier in the race, basically was in a wreck because of Chastain doing Chastain things, decides to basically do everything he can, basically pulls a Denny Hamlin on him and decides to block him like crazy. And then basically slows him down by almost a full second, gets Martin a much bigger lead. Is that race manipulation?
I call that karma. Hear me out.
Oh, just shut your mouth, man.
Just hear me out.
No, go for it.
Right? Emotions. They're in these races. He takes out Poole. It hits Larson. You don't think he's not going to forget about that?
Oh, of course not.
Exactly. So, like, from both sides.
He said he was sorry.
Yeah, okay, sure. He could be sorry, but that was his chance to be like, this
I
is a
think he
little bit
should
of
have just
payback.
wrecked.
I'm actually surprised when I heard that car was coming back out from the garage. I'm like, oh god, this is it.
Flashbacks to Matt
Commitment.
Kenseth
Matt
and Joey
Kenseth and
Logano.
John
Yeah.
Logano, just like
Commitment.
just like that. Just I just had
So,
the vision of
I'll tell you another funny one. So this is before you were watching. Joey Logano wrecks Matt Kenseth in the cutoff race. Matt Kenseth falls out of the playoffs. They get all the way to Martinsville. Joey Logano has to win the race to go to the championship 4. He's in the lead. On one of the restarts, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano's then teammate at the time, doors Kenseth, wrecks him, trashes his car. He goes back to the garage because you used to be able to do that back then. That actually might be why they got rid of that rule.
maybe.
Why you're not allowed to go back to the garage and fix your car anymore. He goes back to the garage, fixes his car, comes out, runs a handful of laps, he's really slow off the pace.
His
Joey
car's
Logano-
destroyed. Like it's
Oh, yeah,
barely hanging
destroyed.
together.
Joey Logano passes him. Very convenient for Matt Kenseth. His brakes fail and just absolutely obliterates Logano going to the
Oh,
corner.
destroys his car.
Causes Logano to miss the championship.
And
4.
that's why that rule was changed. And that's why the rule was changed.
Yeah, so
I want to say the damaged vehicle policy came on like the next year or so later.
I think it did actually. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we were just talking about it because, with all this talk about, oh, you're manipulating the race with like Hamlin and all that stuff with wrecking Chastain, is a car that's not fighting for the lead, not fighting for a position at that point, blocking another driver that is fighting for the lead or fighting for a position. Would that constitute race manipulation because they're manipulating their race?
It's hard to put the bias to the side, right? But I'm trying to. So like part of me is like racing etiquette. You should let the race be clean, let it be straight up, and let the leaders race. I'm not so offended by the Larson thing because you got wrecked.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
bruh,
I get it.
He's gonna give you a hard time.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say with the Larson thing, now are we into the territory of Denny Hamlin race manipulation? I mean, Denny Hamlin got penalized when NASCAR gave him his list of penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because he said it on a podcast. It wasn't whatever. The penalty that he got was race manipulation.
Intentional.
Right. So I just want consistency. I don't want to see Larson penalized. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to see Denny Hamlin get penalized either. Like, let these
So-
guys work it out on the track.
It,
You
so
know.
from
But let me finish real quick. But I will say I don't think I really like the Joe Gibbs teammates and the Toyotas blocking.
That's what I was going to bring up.
I'm not really a big fan of
wasn't
that.
just Larson.
No, it
If you
was
watch
a lot of the Toyotas.
Larson started it, which, okay, you got a chip on your shoulder. He comes back, and then Bubba blocks him. And then
Was it Bubba or was it was Reddick and Bell, right? I think it was Reddick and
It
Bell.
might have been
it was,
Reddick.
no,
and Bell.
it wasn't Bell. It was.
I remember
it
Reddick.
was Ty Gibbs for sure.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it was
Gibbs.
Ty and Reddick.
I mean, a black
and-
monster car, like you said, 54,
I think
45,
Reddick.
whatever.
It was at least 2 other Toyotas came down and blocked him to the point where he was on them, hitting their bumper, trying to get around them.
Yeah.
And at that point, where does the gray line stop? Where is the black and white? Either it's either it's race manipulation or it's not. What are you?
But at the same time,
look
what
at
I've heard it argued as, we're still racing 100% for the overall gain of the team,
Yeah. But
of
okay.
the organization.
Look at last year. Cole Custer and Priest. Was it Priest?
Which one?
At the Roval. The
Yeah.
cutoff.
Yep. Got penalized.
He was penalized.
the first
same
and
team, and that
only
was to the
time-
benefit of the team.
But then at the same time, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, that's what I was just going
Chase
to bring
Elliott
up.
not penalized.
It
Well, it's
doesn't
'cause
make
it's
sense.
Chase
There's
Elliott.
no-
That's why there shouldn't be a penalty. If it's egregious, okay, it's a penalty.
I
But
mean,
if it's not, leave it
3
alone.
people, if not 4 people, tried to block Chastain from getting to Martin
And he
Truex.
still
That
got
sounds
second?
egregious. It's not just one guy.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean
that's-
that's where I'm like,
You got team orders at that point.
Maybe people are just over it.
Well, that
over it or over him.
Over
That-
him.
No,
Both.
you can't be over it, man.
Is that a manufacturer like call or
Oh
is
yeah,
that like
Oh,
that's a
100%.
Toyota.
Toyota's going to
Protect
win
your
this
guy.
race.
Most manufacturers going to do that. Not manufacturers, but teams. But 2311 and Joe Gibbs are so
Basically-
closely aligned. They're
basically the
almost
same team.
one team. Toyota only has like 6 cars, so they're very tightly knit.
All right, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. I'm here for you, Matt. You ready? All
I
right.
knew it was a tinfoil hat when I saw the 8.
Ooh, that hurt. That hurt. All right, Martin Truex, brother wins. It's home course. NASCAR stepping
Here we
in.
go.
NASCAR stepping in, telling Toyota to block Ross.
So now
There's no way.
it goes all the
Narrative.
way to the top.
Narratives.
How are you not gonna hear that on the scanners or something? We listen to the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Maybe they get a message on the dash. That's
That's
why
why
it's
they
blurred
blurred
out.
I just have this little envision of just like a little bubble comes up, this little blue like text message thing. Just like, hey, stop Ross.
Apple services.
Yeah. If it's a green bubble, you just ignore it.
Oh,
Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right. I guess I'm the only
It's
one
blue.
now.
We got to do it.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I guess that's all we have to say about the race then. So that makes us move on to our next section. This is the I'm about it or I'm not about it section. So for those of you that are just tuning in and haven't heard this before, this is where I will bring up a topic and then we will say whether we are about it or we're not about it. So the first one, Ross Chastain making another aggressive move, causing the 15 and the 5 cars to wreck and destroy Larson's day when he was proving to be one of the fastest cars. Matt, I'm going to go to you first.
I'm about it. Wreck them all. Wreck them all. Put them in the wall.
Spoken like a guy
The
who
tour
plays.
rolls on.
The
How's
tour
it-
keeps going.
Wait, hey, by the way, we need to order a 23 flag.
Oh, well, you mean I got to make one?
Yeah, we had a 2022 flag. Now we need a 2023.
Should I just
Bubba.
like spray paint?
Don't give a tour.
Don't give an F tour.
Should we
Yeah.
make it? Don't give it S tour, and then we make it like the new one. No, just F
No,
tour
no.
part 2.
Don't ruin a good thing.
Back to the question.
Anyway.
I'm about it. I figure Chastain, he's playing a different game. He used the pawn to take out a king. And it makes total sense. Because,
Hold on. Do you know how to play chess?
yeah, he's still.
Well, no. Do you really know how to play chess?
That carries a lot of weight because Larson was so fast.
He was.
Hey, man, he hit him, slowed down. He went right back up, took out a king. He was good to go.
Took no damage.
No damage. I'm telling you, this guy, he's 180 IQ all day.
Talk about playing chess and checkers.
Yeah. Right. That was such a good analogy.
That's good. I love it.
Lewis, what do you think?
I'm not about it. Like,
Really?
It hurts because I'm a Florida boy. I love the Magic. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like Ross. He's a Florida boy. But like, it's stage 1. And like
I'm
there's
just saying, he
space.
probably still root for the Magic when they get a personal foul too.
You know,
I
you're
do.
right. I do. But like,
I'm with you, Lewis. It's okay.
there was space to go around. Like you chose the wrong line. You were on top. You thought the bottom was. You thought Brennan Poole was gonna go. He didn't, and you could have gone back up, but you chose to tap him into the corner.
As Nate would say, get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
He's in the way.
I'm just not about it.
It's sad.
So I'm very much about it, and this is the reason. The Rick Ware racing cars are the literal moving chicanes of
Yeah,
NASCAR.
they're the worst.
Every race we have moving chicanes, right? And it's typically the Rick Ware cars. I would say the BJ McLeod car. When did you ever see that car in the way? Never. I forget he's even out there sometimes. And he's respected
know
in
if
the
that's a
garage
good thing.
because he knows how to race and not be in the way. But I will say you are supposed to go around the chicanes, not through them. But I'm still about it.
I don't know. There's been some races recently.
Maybe they'll learn.
There's been
Get
some-
out the way, bro.
There's been some turtles
Gotta get out of the
recently
way.
that would disagree with the going through versus going around thing.
If
So,
you ever see Ross Chastain behind you, you better just get out of the way.
dude, I'm
Hey,
telling you,
that's what Earnhardt would do. That's
out of the
honestly,
way.
I'm
I'm
wearing
telling
my
you-
3 hat right now because of that.
I'm telling
Get
you
out of
right
the way.
now, if we're driving down in Plant City or down where he's from, and I see his car come up behind me, dude, I'm pulling off the road. I'm getting out of the car. I'm just
Putting all my
getting
hazards
out.
on.
I'm
If I
getting
see
out
a
of the way.
front license plate and it has a 1 on it, I'm moving.
I'm out.
I'm moving.
I'm out, bro. No, so for me, I'm totally about it because I mean, you gotta be.
I'm just out
I would
here
say
just
NASCAR Twitter does not agree
sinking.
with us whatsoever.
No, of course not. No, but see, okay, so
Because they want to refine sport. We're not about refined sports
this
anymore.
is NASCAR. Come on, y'all.
just
Like,
own it. That
They
my
think
thing
they're
is that
refined.
own
Yeah.
it.
They're not.
I'm ready for him to just go all speed racer and start dropping watermelons out the back, take people out, bro.
Mario
Bananas.
Kart.
Oh, y'all, did you guys see in the broadcast they had like a Ross Chastain commercial?
The thanks, Ross.
The Thanks Ross
Yes.
commercial. I hadn't get a chance to like really watch it, but I was like catching glimpses of it. It was hilarious.
I don't know, man. I love a guy that's just there, just to he only cares about him and his team. Even sometimes
don't-
he don't even care about his
He
teammates.
doesn't care about his teammates.
No, his
He cares
his one
about
teammate.
him.
Yeah,
I love it.
he's there to
Just
get the
own
win.
it. Own it.
This
That's my
this
thing.
is a
Own
callback to old NASCAR. Like Darrell Waltrip, they called him Jaws, man, because he was ruthless. Dale Earnhardt, the
he is-
Intimidator, just
what is
run
it?
you over.
What's it called? He's a trophy hunter. He just wants the trophy. He wants to win.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I want to see him own it though,
Own it. If he
Well,
owns it,
or at least come out there with a grin and be like,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, like Dale Earnhardt used to do.
bro,
So-
he was slow.
So
I had
in
to
his
move him.
interview, he did address it. One of the first things he said is, "Hey, man, like I didn't mean to wreck the Pool. You know, I'll
Yeah, but
make-
nobody believes that apology anymore.
no, because he says that at every
That
one.
worked the first 2 times.
come out and say, I'm sorry I did that, but he was slow and in the way. Bro,
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in. I
You
can't
got me.
say nothing.
See, but Ross has got too much of a nice guy persona, I think, to do that.
I think, man, they talk about Joey Logano being like two-faced.
Two-faced.
Dude,
Bro,
Ross is
Chastain
much worse.
He is somebody else when he puts that helmet on.
Dude, Ross puts that helmet on and he is cutthroat. Like
I
if
think
you're
I
the
would have
way-
sent Larson again. You're going to throw blocks and be dumb? See you later, bro.
He almost sent
He
Ty
almost-
Gibbs.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
telling you, if you saw that, like
Yeah.
if you were watching, Ty Gibbs
Bro.
was all squirrely down the backstretch.
And that's
the
why
thing
he's
that
like,
saved
all right.
him was the wall.
Knuckle sandwich.
I think Ross did have the fastest car. The way he kept getting blocked before that final caution and kept catching up.
Yeah.
But that's the aero and the tire degradation thing that we're
Yeah.
talking about. But
So yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, I think in all, I think we're all like, we love hard racing at the end of the day. Like, I think that's the part that we do like about it. And I mean, it wasn't like he was being egregious. He just got into the guy a little bit hard. Probably with experience, probably should know that, like, you know, as you're going into the corner, probably not the best place to give that guy a tap. But at the same time, it's not like he was like intentionally trying to dump the guy to get him out of the way. He was just slower and he decided to tap him, and he tapped him at the wrong time.
And while we're on this, right, we talked about a few weeks ago about will Ryan Blaney ever win again? Bro, he had the perfect chance. Same tire
Today.
strategy, same everything, but he's not the guy to go up there and door and use a guy up. Like he could have dove in there, washed Truex up into the very high lane and
Yep.
took off and had a chance to win the race. But he's not that driver, and he doesn't win. He's not winning right now. So if Penske doesn't come with the all-out best car, if he doesn't come with the all-out best car, I don't think Ryan wins again.
he's
So
not going to take those risks.
Kuzman asked us like a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Will he win again?
Will he return to form?
Yeah, when he either races more aggressive and gets his elbows out there or comes with the fastest car, that's the next time he'll win.
Yeah. All right, next topic. So the outcome clinched a special family sweep for the Truex family. So Ryan Truex securing his first Xfinity Series victory on Saturday's race, and obviously Martin Truex securing the win for today. So about it, not about it. Family dynasty, new family dynasty, maybe.
That's a little extreme. But
Yeah, it is.
I'm about it. I like it. It's pretty cool to see Ryan Truex get the win.
Yeah.
I loved his post-race comment. He was like, "This is for everyone who thought I couldn't do it." I was like, I love it.
Simple.
That's the first thing you got to say when you get out of the race car. For all of you who thought I couldn't do it, this is for you. Now you know I belong.
Yeah, I like it. I'm about it. I think it's
Yeah.
just something cool to go into the history books. You know,
Yep.
another pair of brothers that get to celebrate. I know, Truex Senior. He's probably gonna be hurting tomorrow morning. He's gonna be partying with his sons, but I liked it. I'm
Oh
about it.
yeah, that'd definitely be a party of the Truex household.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd say I'm about it. It's cool. It's a cool storyline. They talked about it all weekend. Like, oh, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? Almost to the point where you put your tinfoil hat back on and be like,
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
gonna
Truex's
happen.
last win came on a brother sweep. What? Sorry.
Matt, what'd you think?
I was about it. How could you not be? It creates a good storyline. It's great for the sport. It's great for the history books. I mean, it's always going to be known this week in 2023 was the Truex family suite.
Yep,
at
that's
Dover,
cool. I think what's cool about that too is I think Ryan Truex is actually legitimately proving because he's been running really good.
Yeah.
Ran great at Talladega. I mean, I think there's probably a real chance he's going to be a championship threat being in a good car. Is he full time or is he part time?
He's full time.
I think he's full time.
Yeah. He's the only one that's been in the 19.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I couldn't remember. So if he is, and then he's legitimately
dumb if he
playoff
wasn't.
eligible, I mean, what if he comes out and wins a championship this year? And
He's been racing
here you
for
go,
a long
brother.
time.
Oh, dude, that'd be
I was
crazy.
waiting for you to finish to say that.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, he's been racing for a long time. He just hasn't been in top tier equipment.
Nope,
Looks like he
that's
is
true.
full time. He was full time at starting 21, so I would assume he's still full time.
Good, man.
My
Good for
thing
him.
is, I want to know the age difference between Ryan and Martin because they look like they're 20 years apart.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Mr. Senior's been doing, but
So Ryan is 31. I don't know how old Truex is.
Old. No.
Well,
I think,
or Martin is.
32.
no,
Martin's 40 something.
Is he? I don't know. Look it up.
don't know.
It's not that much,
I
man.
mean, Doctor Strange over there.
Not really.
I mean, if they're not that far apart.
42. So the 11 years.
11 years. Oh,
That's a decent amount. Not 20, but
it looks like 20. Martin looking old, man. Get wore out.
being in NASCAR and having a 54 race losing streak will do that for you.
Man, that's tough. I think that's a Joe Gibbs problem, though.
It could be.
Minus Christopher Bell. They haven't been great since Denny Hamlin and Harvick went on that tear.
Yeah. That was what, 20? 20?
20, right?
I think so.
I think it's 20.
It might have. I don't remember. So, all right. So, moving on to our last about it or not about it topic, the current state of tire wear and specifically tire fall off. So, how do we feel? Are we about the way the tires are working? Are we not about it? Jake, go for it.
I'm not about it yet, but I liked, this was definitely better, but this could be just summed up to Dover, being
Yeah.
a concrete track, not a typical asphalt track. It doesn't hold rubber like an asphalt track does. You saw them lay it down during the race. Under caution, they picked it all back up,
Yeah.
right? And they would relay and pick it up and relay. So Dover is kind of its own unique thing. I think Bristol is probably somewhat similar. But with the talks that Denny Hamlin talked about on his podcast, we talked about it earlier, there's a lot of conversation going on. Goodyear has said they recognize that, they're the first thing before horsepower, before anything, the easiest thing you could change is tires.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have all the horsepower you want, you could have everything you want, but if the only thing that connects a race car to the track is a tire. So if that doesn't work how you need it to, then,
Everything else is kind of for naught.
Right. And Goodyear had said that they were trying to be very conservative last year, and they've started tire testing this year for something a little more likely to fall off and create more
That would be good. Matt, what do you think?
I mean, in all honesty, like I feel like, man, it's hard to say because I felt like the rubber was able to get laid down better at this track. I mean, you could see it visibly. Like after
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 laps, I mean, it was pretty dark and gray. And then, like you said, during caution laps, they picked it right back up. But agreed. I mean, the passing in the front, it needed more fall off. They needed a lot more to it so that a 2-tire versus a 4-tire.
He can't drive away from 4 tires.
No, yeah.
You want to
should be
hold
able
him off, maybe, but drive away.
block him. You got to do something else. But yeah, you can't drive away.
He should have obviously been right behind him the whole time, like
Right.
ready to run him over.
Yeah.
Like
So
capitalize on a mistake.
I feel like with the tire talk, we've kind of beat it like a dead horse. But
A lot.
yeah, just it feels like every week we're kind of talking about the tire and how was the tire this week, and I don't think they're going to change it until next year. So
I think we might see something soon, like a month or so.
Really?
Yeah, there was a tire test at Loudon this week, right?
Was it
This past week, I believe so.
Oh, well, that's
So
good.
I
That's
know
sooner
they're
than I
trying.
thought.
They're trying some stuff, or they're about to, and then they even have worst case scenario the groove tire, which was really interesting in that truck race.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I mean, something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it
I-
can't
I
stay the
do
way
like-
it is. They need to do something to give the drivers a little bit more edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like
Risk
the
versus
sensitive
reward.
tire though. I like a tire that if the team pushes it too hard, you can, who was it? Who was somebody? I forget who it was, but you could tell they're just really aggressive on the setup. And after about 60, 70 laps, I mean, they were done. They were done. They had to pit before everybody else.
I think that was Bubba. I think
It
Bubba
may have
had
been.
there. I think it was Bubba that when he was pulling on pit road, the cord was just like all
I want to
ripped out of
see.
that
I
tire.
want to see a sensitive tire. That
Yes.
if you push it too far, like last year, the tire was sensitive, and they would go too far in the air pressures, and they were blowing tires.
yeah,
Why can't NASCAR do something like Indy does and have two types of tire?
like
They
two
tried
different
that
compounds.
at All Star
Yeah,
race once.
two types of compounds, a softer
A soft,
versus a
a hard.
harder, something like that. I think that would be a little bit more interesting.
There's
know?
been talk about that, or even just going back to when we had like the tire wars with different manufacturers, because then you would be able to say, hey, they may have this tire may be the long run. This it's kind of the similar thing where you have different
Yeah.
compounds, different manufacturers might be better at doing different things. I don't know.
What does a 2-tire do for you right there at the end of the race?
Oh, what?
A two tire option. What does that do for you at the end of the race?
Gives you a quicker
So
pit.
if you have a softer tire, everybody takes it
Yeah,
because it's a
if you
6-lap
haven't
shootout.
used it yet.
But what's the difference of? Okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah, maybe you'd have to limit the numbers and figure out, like, okay, like, because I think in like Indy and Formula One, they do say like, okay, you get like 2 softs, 2 hards and 2 mediums or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can kind of use it through the whole
Formula
race.
One too.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry, they said Indy. Sorry.
I said Indy and Formula
Oh,
One.
okay, yeah.
So I think that might be something, because then you might be able to say like, okay, for stage 1, we're gonna run a hard soft, and then do our pit stop here, and then
You gotta imagine. I mean, there's so much more into it too. I mean, some of the drivers might prefer a different type of tire. Like, hey, the soft tire, I really want to run that early and get those out of the way, so
Maybe.
that
Get
I can
track
run
position.
get track position. Then I'm just gonna run the hards, and then vice versa. Other drivers, let's just run the hards, and then at the end, let's bet on a late race caution. We'll come in,
Yeah,
get the
So-
softs, and call it good.
So they did this with an all-star race once, and they had a hard tire and a soft tire. The only problem was, and this is the problem with NASCAR, which is why I don't think it's going to work. They sim everything to death. So they had never done it before, and everybody came up with the exact same strategy. So I think today
that's probably why.
That's
they
true,
have like simulation and AI technology that will predict a race based off of prediction models from before, or statistical data from before, and they have prediction models. Like the same thing, like when Larry Mack's like, oh, the statistical data says the last caution is on 57 laps to go or whatever. They
He's
have all that
usually
data,
pretty accurate too.
and then they base all their strategies on that. That's why you see everybody coming down almost the exact same time at green flag pit stops. And I wonder that they would just over sim it too much, and everybody would end up at the same area, and it
They might.
wouldn't make much difference.
Yeah, and I think the thing that also makes it tough is with like NASCAR versus like Indy and with Formula One is just we have a lot more pit stops. A lot more. Like
A lot more
Indy
pit
has
stops.
what, one? Or not Indy, sorry. Formula One has like one.
Typically one pit
One a
stop
race. And then I don't know of Indy, probably 1 or 2 at the most, maybe. Depending
Yeah,
on
and
the
like
track.
Formula One, they don't even fuel; they just do tires.
Yeah. So I mean,
you're only pitting for tires.
Yeah,
So,
so
there's only one element of strategy there.
I think it's hard. So so for like me, as far as the about it, not about it, I am not about the current state. I think that they definitely need to figure something out. I think maybe the issue is not so much that a tire falls off. I think the issue is the rate at which it falls off. Because what we saw today was a tire that was like, okay, and then it like, slowly fell off. Like there was a little bit of fall off, but it wasn't much. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, the tire's destroying itself.
Yeah, it's off a cliff.
And you fell off a cliff. They need to make that a more gradual, thing. Maybe
I think that'll give
that's
you all the strategy that you want.
Yeah,
right there.
maybe that's the point in that tire is because maybe that's a safety thing. Like you don't want it to like gradually get weaker and weaker, and all of a sudden you want it to be like, oh my God, I need to pit now. I don't know, but I think that's the thing is just making that trajectory just a little more smooth as far as it and getting it to the end of that tire's life. It doesn't just fall off a cliff. Lewis, what do you think?
On this subject, I'm a little bit more TBD on it. As a new NASCAR fan, I call Jake once, twice a week.
Is this your first full NASCAR season?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
We have another.
There
is another.
But I call Jake like once or twice a week, or I text him on things that going down the rabbit hole on YouTube or NASCAR Twitter or whatever. And I just
that's a dark place.
Oh man, I've been deep.
Do you go to Reddit? That's even more fun.
Oh, Reddit gets wild. That's what the tinfoil hats are.
All right, Reddit is next. But no, I ask these questions because I'm learning. I even asked not to change the subject, but I asked him about the pit crews and how that works. So as I learn a little bit more, engage more of an understanding of this sport as a total, then I could probably partake in that subject. But as of right now, I'm gonna lean on the professionals and my homies.
Professionals.
My homies.
You just agree with us?
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll say I'm glad to see. It seems like things
All
are
right. If you agree with us, I'm going to say something. Suarez is great.
Nah, I don't know about that. That boy right there. I see 9-9 and it's just hate.
For those of you that don't know, so Lewis is a Kyle Busch fan, and Kyle Busch and Suarez have not had.
Bro, we bump into him every other race.
Hey, it's like Chastain and Hamlin.
Yeah. I mean the 500 Daytona 500.
Yep.
Most hated man.
Yeah.
Bro, you gotta let these things go.
I can, bro. I'm a rookie.
You gotta let it go.
One day.
Tomorrow.
Kyle Busch wrecked Dale Jr. one time,
Ooh.
and the entire fan base hated him for a decade.
I think a lot of the fan base still hates him for that.
Facts.
To be honest. All right, so moving on. That was the end of our About It, Not About It section. So now we're moving on to our Kuzman question of the week. And this week we have a special because it's the Kuzman/Grandma question of the week. We have a question from Mr. Ryan Kuzman, and we have a question from good old Grandma. So Ryan's question for us, he submitted it. I think he sent it on Twitter, did he? Or okay. Sent it on Twitter. Ryan Kuzman, like I said, shout out to you again. And I'd like to issue a formal apology for assuming that you were too little to have a drink. I apologize.
He's almost older than you.
I was just say he is. I was like, my bad, bro. So hey, if we hang out, I'll buy you a drink just to make it up for you.
This one's for Kuzman.
Perfect. All right. So his question is, if you could go back and be at any race in NASCAR's history, what would it be? Personally, mine would be the inaugural Brickyard race. Who do we want to go first? Matt.
Ooh, I would like to see the first truck race at Daytona. Just because that was wild.
You gonna sit down there by the fence?
No. Knowing what I know now? No.
Have you
Not
seen
knowing
that?
what I know
I need
now?
a breakdown.
Yes.
So, 2000, right?
I want to say
think
it was 2000. Yeah.
Incredible race. But they thought the trucks had enough drag. They're like, they don't need restrictor plates. That was a mistake.
They were flying.
They were so fast, and there was a huge wreck, and they ripped down about 200 feet.
Who
of
was the one
fence
who had
by the front of the grandstands, just past the flag stand?
Oh,
Wasn't it
I'll show you the video.
Wasn't
It's
it Paul Tracy
horrific.
who had the accident, or who had
Greg-
the accident?
Jeff Bodine.
Jeff Bodine.
I'll show you the video. You're like, nah, he's dead.
Bro.
He's 100% dead. And then
Insane.
you're
Absolutely insane.
He flips a whole bunch, gets hit by another truck doing like 100 miles an hour, flips more, and the truck comes to rest upside down, and you just see him with his hands just like this laying on the asphalt.
So
Unconscious or like?
Oh, unconscious.
Oh my god.
So
And
my first NASCAR race I went to was a truck race, so that's why the truck series has a special place in my heart. So yeah, I'd like to see the first truck race.
There was
I
actually
think
2 flips during that race. That was a wild race.
I'd
Yeah,
love
that
to
was-
be
I
there.
rewatched that race.
I
It
would've
was
been like
once
4.
a year.
It was the 2000 race, by the way.
Yeah.
I was just verifying it. So, Jake, what about you?
I've gone. So me and my dad talked about this once Kuzma said the question, because my dad being an old fan, and we kind of got down to 3 when Dale Earnhardt wrecked Terry Labonte and won the Bristol night race. Even though he told me it was a little hard to leave that night because they were in Earnhardt gear, they had to take their shirts off.
Was it? Oh, was it? It was that bad?
It was bad.
Really?
Oh, watch the video. It's 170,000 people booing very loudly.
He was playing the video right before.
Oh yeah,
we started.
I saw that part.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize it was that
It
hard
was
for them to
bad.
leave.
It was not a good day to be an Earnhardt fan. That was before he was like loved. That was kind of like the turning point to where things started to change. But nobody liked that move. So that one, the 1998 Daytona 500, where Dale Sr. wins. Right, there's a theme here, right? And then the other one was Dale Sr.'s last win at Talladega when he goes from like 17 to first in like 4 laps. And I think we landed on the Talladega one because that was nobody's done anything like that before or since. That was the most incredible thing ever.
Yeah.
So probably the Talladega, 2000 Talladega.
Okay. So I'll go next. Give you, Lewis, a little time to think about something. Google, I don't know.
Lewis can be like Talladega 2023.
No, just wait for it.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to be honest. I was struggling to think of one. The one that came to mind first was probably Chase Elliott's first win at Watkins Glen. I don't know why, but there was something super cool to me about remember watching that, seeing Jimmy push him to the finish line because he runs out of gas. So I don't know what about that I don't know. It was a really cool like passing of the torch moment. I felt like,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just
What
feel
was
like
fun
it
about
was
that
cool.
is we had all rooted for him for like 2 years, maybe 3 years at that
Yeah.
point, and he finally got a win. We were all together
Dude,
watching it. It was
I
super
remember
cool.
we were watching it. That was one of the most stressful moments where we were all just screaming at the TV for like the last 2 or 3 laps. And I remember because I don't think anyone had picked him in our fantasy league.
No.
Nobody cared at that point. Everybody was cheering like, man, finally, is he going to get his first win? And, super cool. Plays the strategy game, runs out of gas, right at the end. Basically can't even make it all the way back to the start-finish line. Jimmy Johnson, who was much farther back in the race, comes up from behind him, sees that he's run out of gas, and he's like, I got to help my boy out. Pushes him all the way to the start-finish line so he could, get to the start-finish line, get the flag, and celebrate with his crew. So that was super cool, being able to see that. So that's probably the one that I can think of just because that's the only one I can really think of where I really had like an emotional moment in watching it. And I'm not even a huge Chase Elliott fan, but there was just something really cool about it being Jimmy pushing Elliott. I don't know, something to it. So
the passing of the torch is
Yeah.
perfect, is the best way to describe
that's
it.
kind of what it
how
felt like.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. So
that
was
was
super
kind of
cool.
like right when his wins were kind of going down, and
Yep.
Chase Elliott exploded.
That was the moment Chase Elliott
Yeah.
exploded. All right, Lewis, what do you think?
Since I recently watched the Richard Petty documentary, I'm gonna go that route, and I'm gonna say the race where he won the 500 and the president was there. I think that would have been cool because you could see in the middle of the race the president landing the plane in the
Yeah.
background.
It was a July race.
Was it the July race?
It was a July race. They used to run in the daytime. That's what's got you messed up.
That's what it is.
It used to be on July 4th day,
Okay.
and they ran it during
right.
the day.
And the
at, like,
president came. I
noon-
think that was really cool.
Yeah, it started at like noon back in the day. Yeah, no. Do you see where he tells the story that they won the race and they all go down in a big tent and he got to sit next to the president eating KFC?
Oh no,
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So he wants to be in that tent.
that's good. That was his 200th win too. That was his last win.
Finger looking good.
I want to change mine.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You already have 3, so
Yeah. No.
Go
This
for it.
is the one.
Go for it.
2014 Daytona 500 when Junior won. Because I was at that race, man, and I want to relive that again because it was the most incredible.
Was that the one with
thing.
Austin Dillon hit the fence?
No. That was the next year in July. I don't ever want to see that again. That was horrible.
That was terrifying.
That was the worst sound I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, the shredding of the
Yeah,
metal from the
that
fence.
was awful.
I found like old video clips from I think 2014 when I went to the Coke race with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, oh look, I'm filming it at the fence, and I'm like, wow. That looking back on it now, I'm like, I could have died.
Yeah.
Standing
it's
right
crazy,
there.
man.
Like it was wild because in my video, it's really funny. You can see like the first row. There's like this family, and they got like this little stroller with like their kids there, and I'm just like, oh man, how did no one ever think this was a bad idea? Like,
Especially after the Greg Biffle crash.
right?
But no, the 2014, like the emotions on that. What's really funny is my wife now, Lindsay, we were only dating for about 3 months at that time, and I took her. And when Junior won, I mean, Junior was it was a dark time to be a Junior fan. He hadn't won in a long time, and it was not looking good. And then he won, and that whole season was like a game changer. But I was a hot mess. I freaking lost my mind. And we were like 2 rows up. I jumped over the front row and ran to the fence and was over top of the flag person, the flagman, where they handed the flag to him in the car. And I have like photos of me standing like right there.
cool.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
like the whole emotion of that whole thing, yeah, that was the most incredible.
He was out here crying in front of his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, bro. She's like, this guy's a freaking weirdo. It gets even better.
She still says
because
that.
But
hasn't
this I
changed.
knew she was a real one because I told her like when we went, like, hey, make sure you bring extra change of clothes, it might rain, whatever. So we get there, the race runs, I don't know, 30 laps maybe. Pours down rain for 8 hours.
Florida.
And we sat in my old Mustang in the rain for 6-7 hours until it almost ran out of gas because we were sitting in the AC because it's hot. It's
Yeah.
Florida. And then, she stayed and we watched the whole race and got home at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. That's trooper.
Yeah.
That's how I knew she was the one.
That was it. That
But
was
I
the
thought
moment.
it was over.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so moving on to Grandma's question. So Grandma sent us a question. Hey, Grandma, thanks for listening. We appreciate you. So her question is that she's learning more about NASCAR, and she wanted to know when the first NASCAR race was, where it was, and who won it. So,
All
Jake,
right.
you got that pulled up
I got
for
it
us,
pulled
right?
up. This is NASCARHall.com. NASCAR made it official on February 15th, 1948, when it ran its first sanctioned points race. Any guesses?
Daytona? The Sands?
The beaches of Daytona.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where Doc Hudson wrecked.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to catch that.
But yeah, that was the first race, and we went this year in February. We went down to the hotel. And,
the Streamline? Or
yeah,
what
and
it's
we
called?
stood in the room where they signed the documents and formed NASCAR, which was pretty cool.
Who won the race?
Hold on.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it was Red Byron.
Oh, classic.
Dang.
There you go.
So, all right.
William Byron's great grandfather.
Shut up.
By assumption.
Yeah,
No
'cause
stats in
I
that.
mean, considering, how many other people do you know with the last name of Byron?
I would have believed it.
I know 2 people. William and Red.
That's it. So that was the first official race. Obviously, there was probably races before that, before NASCAR became official. But man, NASCAR's been around for a little while, 75 years now. So they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
They race cars.
You want me to tell you? This is for Lewis. The most race car driver name you've ever heard in your life.
You say Dick Trickle.
I'm ready.
Red Farmer.
Oh, that's a fire gamer tag too.
Yeah, for Farm Simulator.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, dude. Some of the classic like NASCAR drivers' names are the best.
Oh yeah,
Like-
Fireball Roberts.
Yeah, like and how they had nicknames with their names. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I love it. That's something I wish we would get back to. Just a little more personality in the sport.
I wish William Byron would go by Bill Byron. That's such
right.
or Chase go by Clyde. His real name is
Oh
Clyde.
gosh,
Oh,
Clyde
I
Elliott.
did not know that.
Yeah. Clyde. I think it's Clyde William Elliott, right? Because I think his middle name.
I'm
is his
gonna
dad's
be
name.
honest. I'm not about that.
You're not about the Clyde?
No,
Oh, I'm on that bandwagon.
good for you.
Whatever.
No, I'm not about it. Yeah, so thank you guys for submitting your questions. Thank you, Kuzman and Grandma. We appreciate you guys. If you guys have one of your questions that you want to see us answer on the show, we don't, obviously, as you can see, we don't have to do just one. We can do multiple if we can fit it in. So send it out on Twitter. We will definitely respond to you. We love talking to people and getting people on the talking about NASCAR. We love it. So, all right, so moving on to our next race recap. Our next race, we're going to Kansas.
Woo.
Man, everyone
This was,
sounded real excited about
Who's
that.
got 2311 in their picks for next year or for next week?
Does everybody?
Yeah.
don't
Toyotas are usually nasty at Kansas.
Yeah, usually. It's like
Well,
big Richmond.
Kurt Busch won in the spring, right? And then Bubba won in the fall.
With the same car, yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I got Tyler Reddick. Forget about the 23 car.
45's lucky.
Not the 54, Lewis. The
Yeah,
45.
yeah.
Okay.
I know it's confusing because the cars look the same.
Literally.
I mean,
You should probably pick
I felt
both black monster cars just so you're safe.
But hear me, I felt so confident while I was saying, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be.
I was debating. I was like, am I just gonna let him?
No,
own it?
don't let it slide.
I think we all were. We're all just like, do we just let him go with it?
Nope.
So yeah, going to Kansas. Anything specifically that we're looking forward to? Anything other than Toyota's probably being pretty strong there?
We've had we've had Las Vegas as a traditional 1.5 miles. Is that the only one so far? Auto Club, it's a 2 mile, but
Phoenix.
stop.
Listen, no-
That's a 1 mile
No, it's an
Is it a
intermediate.
short track?
intermediate.
It's a 1 mile intermediate.
It's a 1 mile intermediate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
just like Dover is a
The
short
racing,
track.
the racing was spectacular there last year. So
It was.
it'll be really interesting to see after a year. You know, this Auto Club and Las Vegas were like the 3 big races that are going to be the real benchmark of is the car, is
think
the
you could-
parity there.
You could
is
throw
the-
Charlotte in there probably too.
Yeah, well, we're just not there yet. But
Yeah,
yes,
but that's one.
yeah. If Charlotte stinks, I'm going to be so sad.
Yeah.
That race was so good last
it's a
year.
long race for it to be bad.
That's true.
Yeah, well, we've seen some not good ones.
at Charlotte or just long
At
races?
Charlotte at the 600.
Mm.
There's been some that, remember that Martin Truex one?
Domination,
Domination.
For
Yeah.
600 laps?
bro.
He led like 392 out of 400 laps. He only lost the lead during green flag pit stops.
That's
And got it
amazing.
right.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It was.
Wow.
It was quite possibly one of the most boring races because he just the whole time he was up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, he couldn't be touched. That year he won almost every 1.5 miles that year. He
Was that the year he won the championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
was a crazy year, man.
weird year because he was just dominating the whole time. So so Kansas, cool. We're looking forward to it. We're here for speed. Kansas, cool.
Kansas, cool.
Yeah.
It's
I
my
mean,
first
carrots.
experience. I mean, every race this year for me is going to be a first, just watching every single race so far. So I'm excited to see.
Thank you, Nate. Part 2.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought we had somebody new this week.
I mean, besides us both being Spanish, I mean, it's literally the same.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lewis, you're new. So this is something we're gonna go off a little bit. So Lewis, you're new into NASCAR. So what has been the thing that has captivated you into NASCAR the most? Like drawn you into this?
I mean, there's 2 aspects to this question. Because first, it's the experience of going to the track and actually being around.
Was that the first time you really got into it?
That
the
was
track?
my first time was the Coke 400 where it rained the entire time and I didn't even get to watch the race in person.
It was
But-
still a good time.
But it was a great time, just how welcoming everybody is and the experience of just learning from people. But the other part that I wish NASCAR would maybe broadcast a little bit more is like the analytics, like the little details that maybe, you know, new fans don't understand. Like I'm the type of person where I like the little nuances, that the little pieces of the picture that make the big picture. Like that to me draws me in. It makes me more of a fandom to racing and the strategies and the teams and whatnot. So that's been both for me.
Yeah, we talked about that last week a little bit
Yep.
about what one area that the Fox broadcast could easily get better on, and they used to be amazing at this when they had Larry Mack, was the broadcast wasn't so surface level.
Yeah.
They got a little. They were able to do both. They were surface level, but then they would also give you great detail as well.
Yeah, anytime they would pull up the cutaway car and Larry Mack goes into, all right, now here's what a track bar does, and goes into his thing, and dude, that's
Spot on.
thank you.
That was pretty good.
My friend Jonathan does a better impersonation of him, actually, believe it or not. That's always my favorite part of the broadcast too. I'm with you. Like, you know, you learn about the car, they show you it, so it's if you've never been in the sport before, you understand what they're dealing with. You understand what's going on. So I'm with you. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the broadcast. Wish they would do that a tad more too as well.
So I got a quick question, and this is a general question. because I saw it.
Do we need tinfoil hats?
No, you don't need a
Okay.
tinfoil hat. Do you care what karaoke song the drivers like?
No. But there's people
Why?
that do.
Who?
I don't know.
Is it
Hold
the
on,
average
hold on.
NASCAR?
Where is this coming from?
Where is this coming
Where
from?
is this coming
So when they do the pre-race,
Okay.
they always have some weird stat or something for the driver. They'll be like, "Oh, and we're gonna catch up with Alex Bowman," but Alex Bowman doesn't say anything. They just have a camera on him, and then they give like his favorite food, cheeseburger, his favorite karaoke song, Sweet Caroline. Like, why are they? Why is that
I
press?
think that's probably their attempt to try to build some
Personal.
personality.
Let the driver build the
But this is where
personality.
NASCAR's not letting them do that.
No, see, because like
There's rules for
listen,
rules.
There's certain people like Chase Elliott where it'd be like favorite ice cream, vanilla, and it was
Ain't
just
nothing wrong with
What's
that.
wrong-
Ain't
what's
nothing
wrong with
wrong.
vanilla?
Yeah,
I
that's
like-
my favorite.
Hey, man.
No, but
easy
I'm
now.
just saying.
But would you prefer
Rainbow sprinkles.
Would you
Yes.
prefer
No, that's
Chase
Suarez.
Elliott to tell you that, or for Jamie Little just to read it off of like a stat board?
I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of I don't really care.
Alex Bowman strikes
know.
me as a
It
rainbow
bothers me,
sprinkle
man.
guy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Sorry.
I
What
can
were y'all
feel-
talking about?
I can feel that.
I just think it's a useless stat.
I agree.
I would
agree.
rather I'd rather see on the board their stats at the track.
Averages. Yeah.
I'd rather what they
Average
normally
finish.
run, how
Yeah.
many times they've ran there, how many times they've
like
won.
what you're saying. What karaoke, what ice, whatever.
That means
that
nothing to me.
doesn't. That's normal people stuff. I want to know what makes them.
That's what they can
I-
do.
I
on
want to
media
know what
day.
makes
So-
them the thing that nobody else is.
Okay, so if
It
I
ain't
think-
vanilla ice cream.
I think
It's not
if
their
you
favorite
could
karaoke song.
no, but if you could tie it into maybe the title sponsor of the race, maybe. Like for example, if a beef jerky sponsors the race, what's their favorite flavor of beef jerky?
Hey,
All right,
okay.
now,
Some-
okay, easy. All right.
No, I think
What?
that's
No,
fair.
but I mean, at least then it's.
But you can't do it every
It's
time.
I see
actually-
what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can't be
I
like,
see
oh, it's
what
the Geico 500. What's your favorite insurance policy? Like, that's not going to make any sense.
I didn't
You
say
can
do it
What
for
policy do you
everything.
have on your car?
How much are you insured for?
Not hailstorms. I promise you that.
Not enough for this race.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. No, but I'm with you. It's kind of a.
Yeah, I mean, I
kind of a
get they're
weird-
trying to get
I
some
think
kind of
it's super easy if they go
relatability,
back.
but-
Like, and this you guys kind of made fun of me for this the other day, but like, like back in the day, if you go watch like an old race, like the driver intros was freaking epic. They had like this epic Roman gladiator music as like they're trying to like hype this whole thing up because it's serious, man. It's
Yeah.
super dangerous, and they're like hyping up like they're about to go to war. And then I think that's more applicable now than ever because there's no more driver etiquette.
They don't show
No.
any of it on TV anymore.
No.
They don't show any of, realistically, the driver intros. They show the national anthem. They show the opening prayer.
when I'm
anything
saying
like
the
that,
driver intros, I'm talking about like the starting lineup. Like when they're going around, they're showing the starting lineup on the screen, going through the field row by row.
Mm-hmm.
Like it used to be like, I gotta go back and show you some old stuff.
Well,
and they would go they would do like just before the race, no drivers, no nothing. This is Dale Earnhardt's car. Won this, and it's like this epic, and like the guy that's talking, it's just real serious, and like it's like a lot like what Formula One does.
I was gonna say if you look at like at what the NFL does, like just the music when they're getting their like the pregame and stuff.
Yes.
like their music is hype.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I mean, it's the same song it's been for what 20 years.
Yep.
But it hypes you up, and
Not
I
even
think
that
we're
long
that.
ago, NASCAR used to have like Fuel from Metallica playing before the race, and it was like hype, man, super hype. Give me fuel, give me fire, wah, 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 na, na, na. Like
That
the
was beautiful.
super hype, man. Like there's just like that took you in. Like now, like I agree with you, it's super watered down.
Yeah, and I think
Vanilla,
that-
as you
I mean,
would
we were
say.
talking about it this week just to kind of. I know we're getting kind of off on a tangent, but I just thought these were important things to talk about.
If your broadcast is gonna be vanilla, put sprinkles on it.
Rainbow at that.
Is chocolate syrup allowed on it?
Turtle
Kyle
Show.
Busch fan.
How many wins does Brad have this year? I'll wait.
We're talking about the future.
We're rebuilding
rest
this
of the
program and this organization. We're in a rebuilding year.
Are we talking about
Now you
on
sound like a
NASCAR
Tennessee
Heat?
fan.
Are we talking about on NASCAR Heat or Ignition, or are we talking about real life?
I mean, he's stolen more pit crews than anything else.
He gets the best of the best.
You're not even a Ricky Stenhouse fan. And you took that like real personal.
I called Jake. I was like, dude, he's taking his pit crew. Like, what is going on? And then I asked him about the whole, like, well, actually, he leases out pit crews. That's something that they specialize in. And blah blah blah. But then I was like, bro, like,
Brad's just a pimp.
you know what?
He's just a pimp.
Pimp Kislowski.
You got to bring him back. He said, "Hey, you guys do good."
Pimp the bread Keselowski.
Oh my God.
I love it. All right, guys. So anyway, it was a good time, Lewis. It was great having you on the show for the first time. Finally,
Man, I appreciate y'all letting me come in and just, shoot it up with y'all.
Yeah, man.
doing our thing.
It is so weird to be doing this on a Monday.
It is a little weird,
Yeah.
like rushing from work and stuff like that coming over.
Good
Yeah.
news is we're 1 day shorter to the next race.
That is true. So, yep, if you guys definitely check us out and follow us on Twitter, find us on Instagram. We're out there too. We're on all kinds of different social medias. Our YouTube channel is live. We do have one video.
Is it?
Yeah, I sent it to y'all. I know how many people watched it because I have the analytics, and it ain't any of y'all.
I thought
haven't
that was, I
seen it. I
thought
gotta
that was
check it
just
out.
another preview. You just sent a video and didn't say, "Oh, hey, by the way, it's live. Here you go. Let's go." You just like, here's a link.
Fair enough.
Thank
But,
you.
I mean, it.
Better than the reel that the girls posted and said it was hilarious.
And then it wasn't. That was bad.
That was bad.
All right, y'all.
Don't watch that reel.
It's been fun. We'll see y'all next week at Kansas. Make sure you come around for the next one. See ya, guys.
See you.
See ya.
Peace.